But because so it depends. So this is where we diverge a little bit, also. So like my planet has a buff, saying prosperous unification, which is plus 15% happiness, plus 25 amenities, and plus 10% resources from jobs. And for me, it's like since Unification Day, the economy's been booming. So so for me, Earth is united at this point. So there's not really like separate countries anymore. So that's like United Nations. So generated districts, they themselves upkeep 1. So they take 1 energy credit to upkeep. And city districts take 2 for me, at least. But they're giving me plus 2 housing and plus 2 technician jobs. So 1 technician job produces 8 energy for me. So you can do like weird stuff with your economy later. But so because 2 technician jobs, if I have enough pops, because each pop is 1 job's worth, I can have like 16. I can get 16 energy credits per generated district, and then subtract 1 for the upkeep for the generated district. Then you have a mining district. So the little 240 next to it, that's how many days it takes to build, and you can like buff that. Or if you're having problems, like if your planet's in rebellion, then it's gonna be way slower. So mining districts, 1 upkeep, it adds 2 housing and adds 2 miner jobs. And they produce minerals. And then agriculture districts, 1 upkeep and all that stuff, they produce 12 food per job. And then they give me 2 jobs. Then you should have like a little planet like Earth with like a little magnifying glass. Yeah. And click on that. And that's planetary features. Which is more stuff dependent. That's by the way, a lot of the time you're not really going to be looking this deep into stuff, by the way. You're just going to be like, hey, this is a not cool planet. Let's just take it. So, like, for me, I have these things called blockers, and they block me from building districts. So I can add 4 more districts to this planet, but I only have 1 free district, because the other 3 are like the little squares that are like crossed, like the little red stuff. So, like me, I have a sprawling sum. So it's going to take like 225 energy. Well, it takes like 300 energy, but because of my governor has like an environmental engineer, she's an environmental engineer, I guess, it has a minus 25% cost, so it's easier to do. Okay. And then Great Pacific Garbage Patch, you know that. And then like an industrial wasteland. And then you have more things. So, like, I have the Scandinavian Reclamation Sector. Okay. That's weird. So that's adding, like, an additional agricultural district. Because each planet has, like, a max amount of districts that it can support. So you'll see that on, like, you'll have, like, a bunch of grayed out boxes on your districts. And those are, like, the max that the planet can support in total.
Yeah.
So then I have, like, the Saharan Irrigation Project. So, apparently, like, the Sahara Desert is now a giant field. Obtaining urban corridor. So basically, all these different things, all these different tiles, are just give you, like, buffs. And basically determine what kind of, just what type of districts you have on that planet. And in certain yeah.
Is that like your Sahara irrigation project? Is that like the things that I have are like hot springs?
Yes.
Underwater things?
Yeah, so because this is Earth, they have a lot of special stuff. So I guess apparently in like Scandinavia, like Finland and all that stuff, there was like a containment breach, so it was like irradiated until like the late 22nd thing. There's basically like a bunch of lore stuff, and I just get extra stuff because it's Earth, so I get like more descriptions. Mm-hmm. But then so there's terraforming, which you'll have to like get special stuff for. You can't do that yet. There's so then there's trade value. I do not fully understand trade value. You can I get it's like trade routes between planets, and I guess if it connects to your capital, then it's saying that it's like converts it to various resources. That's what it's saying anyways. I never really... But you have like a bunch of things. So like I have a trade value of 15.98. and then I'm getting like plus 6.2 from my populations, plus 6 from my jobs, which is because if you remember, the clerks in my city districts are producing plus 2 trade value per job.
Yeah.
So that's why that is. Then you have buildings. Each building does certain things. So like the planetary administration, you should have. Well, so you can see production on that stuff. Planet deficit would be if your planet is like taking stuff. So like maybe if I have like a generator sector that produces all my electricity, but my other planets would be like taking that electricity. You know, it's give and take. It's trading, I guess, but in your own empire. Let me lower the music a little bit. Oh, yeah. And you can drag these things and you can just, like, move them around the screen.
Oh, and so these are locked because I don't have enough population.
Yeah, so once you get more population, then you can build more things. But, so, like, for me, I have a planetary administration. You should have something that's equivalent at the top left. And that's always...
You have a planetary
Alright,
also.
yeah. So it gives you an enforcer job, which produce unity, and they decrease the amount of crime you have. And they also spawn defensive armies.
This is where
Shut
we
up,
manage
Veer.
all ground.
Do you have any crime, by
No.
the way? Oh, okay. Because I also have 0 crime, and I thought maybe that's because it's a peaceful or a pacifist.
No, but you should have, like, like, if you go hover over your crime, what does it say for you?
It says crime is a measure of...
No, I
overall
mean, like, your
life.
actual numbers.
It says from pops plus 16, governor skill -3, righteous -25, from pop jobs -.
So that's the thing. So since you're a pacifist, I don't have that righteous buff. I just have plus 12 from pops. Because I think I have the unification thing or something that's doing that. My governor skill is taking away 3, and my pop jobs are taking away 25. But I don't have what you said. That was also taking,
The
yeah,
righteous,
25.
which, yeah, righteous is crime -25.
So that means that you have to get like 125 crime to go to your max crime.
Oh.
Then there's housing. That's how many housings you have. The if you run out of housing, you can still grow your population, but it suffers like it only grows at like 20% of the speed or something, which is okay. You're gonna never be able to fully eliminate housing problems, and you're never gonna fully. And then you have unemployment, which also basically what they do is they put like negative. So like more. If you have an unemployed population, it's gonna be putting like a -3% to your happiness and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, but you will never be able to get rid of unemployment. However, there's resettling stuff, but I've never bothered with that stuff. But I've only played like up to like the 2nd difficulty level, and I save scum a lot. So then next to your housing, you have amenities. So you have all your things like you're producing amenities. So amenities are required to make your population happy. If it's lower, then you see from effects from high amenities, and then like happiness plus so and so. If that goes below, your people are going to get less happy. If they're less happy, your stability, which is a little like teeter-totter up there above your population, is going to go lower. And if it goes lower, then you're going to get crime. Crime will make it so that your happiness goes down, your stability goes down, and then it's just like sort of a loop. It's not like an infinite recursive thing where like, oh, your amenities is now down. Oh, now it's going to infinitely just generate more and more stuff. It doesn't work like that. But it's just like a whole bunch of like, oh, this produces that, this takes that, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then, so like, your buildings. So one thing they add is administrative offices, which lets you have more empire sprawl capacity. That is new. It used to be that there was only so much sprawl you could make, and then, you'd have to go over that, and you just make it so that you get slightly less damage or whatever. But you can just play, like, tall wide now, I guess, by just making like a bureaucratic, like a paperwork planet, basically.
Yeah.
Research lab, they take consumer goods, and they make science. Androids will take minerals and they make alloys. Civilian industries will take minerals and they'll make consumer goods. So you can see how minerals are basically like your main, like raw resource that then gets turned into stuff.
Okay.
Then, so if you go hit that plus, because you should probably have like a couple buildings you can build.
Yeah.
So on the right, so you should have some version of a thing called an Autochthon monument.
Sure.
Yeah, what does it say? It should be on like underneath alloy foundries.
Civilian industries?
No, above that.
Alloy foundry?
Okay, then you don't. Then we don't have the same thing. Here, let me. You fool. No, not that. Snip. Where is Snip? Snip.
Is that like a religious place? Because I have one of those at the bottom.
Does it produce more unity?
Priest turns consumer goods into unity.
Yes,
yeah?
so it's the
And
same
just like-
thing. Oh yeah, because you're
It's
religious,
just
aren't
a
you?
circle. No, that was the bird
Oh.
people. I'm just a pacifist
Okay.
here.
So yeah, it's just so the Autochthon monument, it's like Autochthon. That's a lot of H's next to each other. So that's just like, for me, it's a monument to the first pioneers to venture into space.
Oh.
But so that generates unity at the cost of consumer goods.
Mm-hmm.
Then, civilian industries, we talked about that. Commercial zones end up producing like trade values and amenities at the cost of nothing, it seems. So it adds more clerk jobs that your administrative has, but it takes because the thing is, you can only have so many building slots. I have some mod that makes it so you can go up to like 225 or something. But I don't know. Then you have hollow theaters, which basically turn consumer goods into both unity and amenities. You have luxury residences, which basically what they do, so you only have so many districts. There's later stuff you can do to like add like 2 districts or something like that, but it's fairly expensive, but it's something to make your plans better. But you can instead take a building slot to build, for me it's called luxury residence, for you it's probably going to be called something else.
No, I have
Okay.
luxury residence.
So it's basically like more housing, and it also produces amenities. And the thing is, you can upgrade those to where they're gonna generate more, because right now it generates only 3 housing, so that's worse than a district. But it also produces like +5 amenities as well. But eventually you can upgrade them, and then they'll be like +6 housing, which will make it better. Then I have precinct housings, which lets you produce enforcers. So basically a lot of things is to give you more jobs. Research labs, resource silos let you store more things. So if you... Does it tell me? Yes. So if you go to the top and you look at your like energy credits, minerals, food, and all that stuff, you can see like so-and-so out of so-and-much. That so much is the maximum stuff you can carry. So a resource silo will increase all of that by 2,000.
And is yours... You can max carry 1,500?
Yes.
No, 15,000?
Yeah, for like everything except energy credits is 50,000. And then you can have strongholds, which will be like a little housing, a soldier job. But what they do is they make it like they make your or planet like more defensive. And there's a thing called a fortress world that you can use to just blockade planets. So you can or blockade like armies into like your main thing. So if you can find like choke points, because you can only really travel until you get like the warp, until you get like really late game stuff. You can only travel along the hyperlanes, except for like there's an earlier upgrade that lets you go go between things without going through the stuff, but you lose your ship temporarily. Because it's like flying through uncharted space. And then eventually... So you can make it so that you can get ship from one side of the galaxy back to your like home world, but it's gonna take like 5 years for it to fly all that way.
Yeah.
But so what you can do is you can put like a fortress world and choke point, and it will take like a fallen, like a full blown stronghold planet, fortress planet, can take like maybe a fallen empire like a year to get through with their like 100k power fleets. Because they're just gonna have to bomb the shit out of that. Because there's a thing called an FTL inhibitor that eventually a planet like becomes able to inhibit FTL stuff, and that makes it so that they can't. They can only go back to the galaxy or system they came from. Mm-hmm. So that's that, and then you unlock more buildings as you do more research. And then there's decisions, which is next to stability. So there's cease robot assembly. Declare martial law, discourage planetary growth, distribute luxury goods, and send artifacts to museum. That's for me, at least.
Yeah, I have that.
So, like, cease robot assembly, what it'll do is it'll stop the assembly of robots. This is important later for when it's possible. It's possible for robots to, like, you know, revolt or something.
Oh.
I don't have that problem because I'm always like, you know, do you want rights? And they're like, well, they'll be like, yeah, can we have rights? And I'm like, yeah, sure, that's fine. I don't care. Declare martial law so that soldiers become like more stability, but like you get negative stuff.
And reduces job resource production and pop growth.
But it basically is if you have a planet that's revolting, you need to do that. So that then it stops revolting, and then you can keep the planet, and it doesn't like do an actual full revolution. There's a scarce planetary growth, which would be good for like if your planet is like, you know, running out of space and all that stuff, because you know the more populations you have on that planet, the more like negative happiness stuff you're getting. Distribute luxury goods is another thing to basically make people happy. And then artifacts, that's what, it gives you, like, cultural, so sort of like a certain class of things will be, more productive, like plus 20% output. Okay, so that's the first tab. Then you have population.
Here we see a breakdown.
Wow.
Okay, so you have 3 strata of, people. So you have rulers, you have specialists, and you have workers. So, like, administrators, you know, you can just look at each job. But the thing is, you can, like, if you click on a job in each strata, you should be able to see, like, a little, like, banner on the top. Like a little bookmark.
Yes.
That means that you will be, that job is going to be favored. So, like, in some play... So, I tend to have a problem where mid-game... For some, I either build too quickly or something like that, and suddenly I'm like negative 1,000 energy per month, like in like a snap. So what you can do is, if I'm like, you know, but I'm making like, you know, a couple hundred minerals, I can go to one of my planets that, you know, I can build a bunch of technician jobs. But just because I built a building that gives me more jobs, doesn't mean that those jobs will be filled, because they have to be filled by population. So you'll be like, you know, if I have like 5 like alloy foundries, it'll be like 2 out of like 10 metallurgist jobs. But if I click on that in order to highlight it, then like the people will stop researching, people will stop like doing artisans, being bureaucrats, all that stuff, and they'll start being metallurgists. Now, how this works is each population, like in the strata, can like reproduce and then give me like another. So I might get like a third ruler population, and that will be an unemployment. So it can be like, oh, you know, I have a bunch of like worker jobs, but I still have like a bunch of unemployment because all my rulers are, you know, they haven't downgraded. Eventually, I believe that populations will move down a strata or maybe move up in order to fill spaces. And then you have your demographics. So, like, I have an 84% population approval. I have one type of population is growing. And then you have assembly that's for robots. And then declining for that would be people who like being like executed and stuff like that. You have a pie chart for demographics, and then you have all your various like your ethics stuff. So I have spiritualist, xenophile, pacifist, egalitarian, materialist, and militarist.